Hi and welcome to the Beyond Being Good video series. In this episode I'm going to advocate that you as a leader should be aiming to increase complaints that you receive to your organisation. That sounds really crazy, doesn't it? You might remember in a previous episode I quoted Russell Ackoff, the Professor Emeritus of the Wharton Business School, who said that it's better to do the right thing wrong than the wrong thing right, because if you do the wrong thing right you just get wronger and wronger. And I like Russell because he even makes up words like wronger. Now, this is an example where organisations do the wrong thing. They measure the wrong thing and they get really good at measuring the wrong thing. Lots of organisations want to see their complaints tracking down over time. In fact, lots of organisations will even put structures in place, and remember a previous episode on structure drives behaviour. They will put structures in place that even reward managers for decreasing the complaints that the organisation receives over time. There's a problem with that. You see, back in 2006 I was awarded the title of Senior Assessor for the Customer Service Institute of Australia. And the reason why I got that title was because of the over 10-year period, the number of awards, national and state level award winning teams that I'd led, as well as my role as an assessor. Now, interestingly, in the work that I did, unfortunately I can't share the specifics of it because I signed confidentiality agreements, but there were some patterns with regards to the best service organisations in Australia. And one of those patterns was that they got really nervous when they saw complaints tracking down. What they wanted to see was complaints at least tracking even, if not slightly increasing over time, which is the opposite to what most people do and believe. This is an example of trying to do the right thing, and you might get it slightly wrong at the start, but you'll get better and better at how you do it. Now, why did they want to see that? The reason is quite simple. They knew that at least 1/3 of customer complaints are caused and driven by the customer. 1/3 of these complaints are caused by the customer, but the issue is the customer believes they're your fault. They don't realise it's their fault. And what you have to do is help those 1/3, a minimum of 1/3, realise their error. But you have to do it in a way that enables your customer to save face. You can't put your finger in their breastbone and say, hey, you're very silly, you got this wrong. People don't like that. You have to do it in a way that enables them to realise their error, but in a way that helps them to recognise what's wrong, and then so they can move on but still stay engaged with you. Okay, I'm going to give you an example of a personal experience with that very, very soon. So, what they also knew is by being easy to complain to, and that's the key here. To get this, you must be easy to complain to. What they discovered was if they were easy to complain to, they were actually easier to give compliments to. They knew that they actually got more compliments than complaints, and they could then share those compliments directly to the team members in the organisation who had earned those compliments, reinforcing the behaviours that those staff were doing to get the compliments in the first place. So that might be amazing to you, that they actually got more compliments than they did complaints. It was around about 53% compliments, 47% complaints, when you're easy to complain to, which actually means you're easy to provide feedback to. Now, what this does is enables you to maintain a relationship with your customers, so that particularly if you've got this 1/3, you can help correct the situation. Now, here's an example. I have shared with you I'm a passionate member of the Western Bulldogs in the Australian Football League. A number of years ago, I used to pay for my family membership 2 weeks before the start of the season. I would pay in a lump sum. A couple of years ago, what had happened was that I hadn't received my membership cards so that I could pay, and I had paid 2 weeks earlier. It got to just before the first round, and I rang up the club and I wanted to speak to their membership people. Unfortunately, I got one of those messages saying that your message is important to us, and 45 minutes later I was still on the phone waiting for someone to answer the call, and it didn't happen. It just so happens that one of my best friends, one of the groomsmen in my wedding party, is one of the senior coaches at the Western Bulldogs, and I contacted him and told him my story. He immediately contacted the membership manager, who rang me immediately. When I spoke with her, she'd done her homework and she had some data that I wasn't aware of. So I told her, she listened straight away. I told her my issue and my concern that I couldn't attend the first game. She then said, "Oh, Mr. Ryan, I've got the file in front of me. You might recall that last October we actually sent out your membership cards with the intent that they would be validated as soon as you paid. Now, it's possible that the postal system meant that they got lost in the post and they didn't arrive for you, so it's possible that's what happened. What I will do is I will reissue you with some new cards, but I'm also going to send you an email right now with some barcodes, which are the barcodes that are on all of your membership cards. If you print those barcodes up, you'll be able to go into all of the games that you're intending to go to prior to you receiving your cards. And by the way, because it is so close to the start of the season, there could be a slight delay. It might take us 2 to 3 weeks to get those cards to you, but once again, you will have the barcodes. How good was what she did? I actually remember being on the phone, and when she said that point about having sent the cards, all of a sudden I just remembered, I vaguely remembered receiving those cards and I had no idea where I put them. So in fact, that's an example where I had caused my own complaint because I'd been sent the cards, they'd done all the right things, I'd received the letter, I just forgot, you know. Now, she did it in such a way that enabled me to save face. She didn't say that I was an idiot. She said that they probably got lost, so she gave me an out, right? But she still solved the problem because my problem was I wanted to be able to go to the games with my children and my wife. So she sent me the barcodes and told me exactly what I needed to do. She also managed my expectations about when I would receive the new cards by explaining, look, at this time of the year we've got a high volume, it will probably take 2 to 3 weeks, but you can still get into the games anyway. So she's solving all the problems. Then the piece de resistance of what she did. She said to me, I notice that you tend to pay in a lump sum at the start of every year. You know, Mr. Ryan, if you choose to go on the monthly pay by the month system, you actually will never encounter this problem again because your cards will immediately be valid as soon as they're sent out. And I said, that's a great idea, how about we get that arranged later in the year? And that's exactly what we did. So she in fact upsold me to make sure that, because I also know that when people are in that system, they're less likely to cancel their membership and move away. So what a great example of, by being open to increasing complaints, being open to hearing complaints. She heard the complaint from a colleague about her department. She then did her research. She then respectfully enabled me to save face, helped me understand the issue so that I, in fact, ended up being an upsell for her. What a great story. If you want to move beyond being good as a leader, it's important that you understand how to use complaints to your advantage in your leadership journey. So I encourage you to keep working to move beyond being good, and I look forward to working with you next time.